Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Now, video game adaptations over the years have been, well, kind of rough to say as far as turning them into movies and television shows. Things haven't gone over very well. Obviously, the Resident Evil movies are fun and Mila Jovovich kind of sells them, but at the end of the day, they are not very accurate in any way, shape, or form with the games and are literally something that should probably be set in its own universe and not considered to be anywhere near the canon of the actual original video games. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have another edition of that because the Borderlands movie is out there failing miserably. It has turned into a disastrous dumpster fire at the box office already in early previews. The fans hate it, and now we have, after all the critics' reviews came out, giving it one of the worst scores I have ever seen for a movie to premiere ever, a literal 0% for the actual premiere on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the studio's creator is out there begging for people to come out there and watch it, because why wouldn't you be? With a Rotten Tomatoes score of 5% currently over there with the critics, and a not very good audience score either with a 51%, which is absolutely abysmal, and a box office take for early previews that is already in the toilet with only $1.3 million. I mean, literally, this was beaten out by Blake Lively's Rom-Com, right? That it started off with a set that already premiered with $7 million. This is absolutely abysmal, ladies and gentlemen. It is just not going very well at all. So we're going to check out this article from IGN.com over here, see exactly what Take-Two CEO is talking about out here, what kind of excuses he can give up, and what might be the future of video game adaptations over there at Take-Two as well. So we're going to check out this article, getting all of the juicy details. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe if you have not already, because we are inching our way closer and closer to 1,200, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, this will not be the last Borderlands video we've got. Keep an eye out. We've got even more, because your opinion as the audience matters more than anything else, and will definitely more than the CEO's does. So we'll be getting into that here in a little while, boys and girls. Keep an eye out for that one. So Take-Two CEO responds to Borderlands movie's terrible reviews. Give the film a chance, please. Come and watch our movie. This is going to be a disastrous dumpster fire. We already know we farmed it out to really bad people who didn't respect our intellectual property in any way, shape, or form, and we're sorry. But yeah, no, that's not going to work out. We've all kind of known from the beginning. And by the way, leave me a comment in the section down below whether or not you saw the trailer, whether it's something that was interested you. Are you going to give this movie a chance at the theater, or is it something you're going to wait for streaming, or are you just not going to bother with it at all, considering some of the absolute abysmal reviews it's already gotten from both the audience and the critics out there? But needless to say, this is one of them situations where a lot of people thought this from the initial trailer, right? We saw the initial trailer. We're like, well, it's kind of got the look. It's kind of got the feel. But at the end of the day, a lot of the characters, a lot of the people they picked for the main characters, there's a lot of main characters missing from the Borderlands games, as well as the fact that the protagonists that they picked to represent some of these people just are really not very good fits in any way, shape, or form. So color us shocked there that its opening weekend is so abysmally bad, with only a $1.3 million in its Thursday night previews. That's bad. So Strauss Cynic says the company will probably continue to be selective about video game films. The Borderlands film, what comes out this week, is getting some not amazing reviews. Yeah, that's one way to say it. Literally the worst opening I've ever seen. It currently is sitting at a wildly low 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, and here at IGN, we gave them a 3 out of 10. Yeah, not so hot, boys and girls. Borderlands franchise is created and owned by Gearbox, which itself was just acquired by Take-Two. And Take-Two, through its 2K label, is one of the many companies producing film along with Gearbox. So when I chatted with Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick today ahead of the company's Q1 earnings call, can't wait to see those numbers, I asked him about the critical reception. Will the film's success or failure impact Take-Two in any meaningful way? Well, whether or not, this is the thing about this, right? You're going to come up with a lot of spin when you ask a question like this, right? Because no CEO of any kind of company out there is going to go out there and go, yeah, man, we're really going to take a loss on this movie. This is really going to suck. Why? Because that gets all those speculators out there in the stock market, and they go, well, if we already know that he's going to have a huge loss, sell. you can't come out there and say bad things. That's why they use so much like in between speak. Because if they just come out there and say flat out, yeah, everything's a disastrous dumpster fire, this movie's going to end up costing us hundreds of millions of dollars, their stock will do this. We'll end up looking like the Disney stock and just go like literally. That's what happens. So always take what these guys say with a little bit of a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, this is marketing speak. So he says, despite the negative critical reception, here is his response. He says the answer per Zellick is no. Financially, this film won't make a dent. But he also urged to give the film a chance, despite the negative critical reception. Here's his response. Let's give the film a chance. A lot of people worked really hard on it. Oh, yes. How many times have we heard this as an excuse? Well, there's so many people behind the scenes that did a really hard work on it, and you should go and see it just to respect them. This has been the excuse we have heard out of Hollywood over and over again. Well, so many people work so hard that we should really just be proud of that, even though the audiences hate the movie, even though it's going to turn into an abysmal box office failure, costing you company hundreds of millions of dollars. We have seen this exact same kind of line trotted out over and over again, and it means the exact same thing every single time. He knows that this movie is hot garbage. It's a disastrous dumpster fire. It's a disrespect to the wonderful fans out there that love the Borderlands franchise and IP, myself included. I love the first two games, but it's one of them situations where this is what's going on, and this is the kind of speak that they use for this kind of stuff. The underlying intellectual property is phenomenal. Well, for the first two games, we pretty much all agree with you. The cast is amazing. Well, the high-end actors that you hired to do this who don't really fit the roles in any way, shape, or form, yes. Jamie Lee Curtis and the other one, they're great. They're wonderful actresses. They do great jobs. They are also extremely miscast in these movies as well. And clearly the audience, based on the score, as well as what's coming out of the box office, absolutely agrees. And these $1.3 million, that's only the most hardcore Borderlands fans out there that were willing to give that a shot when a rom-com beats it on Thursday night previews. I think the look and feel is really terrific. Well, the look is pretty good. We appreciated the fact we even gave compliments on the trailer when we first talked about it. You gotta look and see like you're losing a lot of practical effects. You're not trying to CGI everything, which, yeah, that it does end up looking okay. But at the end of the day, he says, I think the look and feel is really terrific. Well, the feel wasn't very good for a lot of the audience out there because they're not showing up to see your movie and they're already ragging on it. Let's see what the audiences have to say. 51%. That's what the audiences have to say. The audiences that didn't show up to your movie in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, I think the audience has kind of already spoken while you're out there on the begging tour. But, of course, this was asked right before the audience score came out as well. So it's one of them situations where he goes on to say, let's see what the audience has to say. But to answer your question, no, the performance of the film wouldn't have a financial impact on us or on the franchise one way or another. Now, that's just straight gaslighting, boys and girls, because we know, I mean, what do we got? Let's do it live. Let's do it live right here while we're doing this. So what's the budget? What's the budget of Borderlands? I think I heard like $125 million budget of Borderlands movie. I think we got like $125 million or something like that. What do we got talking here? What do we got talking? Let's see it pop up. $110 to $120 million is what they pop up on this. You're telling me a movie that cost $120 million to make that is going to lose, and what's it going to hit? Maybe $50, $60 million worldwide? It'll be a miracle if you cross $100 million globally on this absolute abysmal reception of a movie which already has a disastrous dumpster fire of reviews from both the audience and critics. He can go out there and say it's not going to have a financial impact on us. But tell us out there, boys and girls, what company out there could spend $120 million, set it on fire because the audiences and the critics out there completely and totally reject this movie and not have any kind of effect? Boys and girls, if you believe that, I've got some beachfront property to sell you out there in Arizona. I went on to ask Zurg about his opinion on video games films in general, a subject he's spoken about often. He reiterated his answer from the past, which seems to have not changed. Take-Two is really selective about what games it turns into films. And he says the company doesn't want to imprint on anything unless it's superb. Really? Really? Then why did you imprint on that? That is absolute BS that we can call and say is nonsense right here and there. Because he saw a test screening of this movie. He saw that it didn't stick to the lore, that it didn't stick to the characters that everybody knew and loved. He knew this thing was an abomination as soon as he saw it. But he's out here gaslighting everybody, begging for you to come and see it. And it's not going to work. This movie is going to fail miserably at the box office. It's going to cost Take-Two hundreds of millions of dollars. And why? It's because, as so many times throughout Hollywood, they give these things over to people that don't understand the IPs. You buy something, you make a movie, you make a television show based on an intellectual property. Why? Because you know that you already have a built-in fan base, you already have a built-in audience. And at the end of the day, if you don't make the fans happy, you're not going to make anyone happy, and you are certainly not going to appeal to a general audience. With a 51% from the audience, a 5% from the critics, and only $1.3 million in your first night previews, there is no doubt in my mind that this movie is going to fail miserably at the box office. And the Take-Two CEO can go out there and try to gaslight you all at once, saying that we're very selective about the IPs. No, that is very obvious that you are not, and you don't give two craps about the IPs that you just acquired from Gearbox that you had any kind of actual investment in whatsoever. They are nothing more than an IP farming tool for you to ship out to the next person that's willing to cut you a check. And guess what? Now we've seen the results of that. Another abysmally bad failure of a video game adaptation to a movie. And guess what? No matter all the gaslighting, no matter all the BS, no matter all the begging you do for the audiences out there, no one is going to see your absolute abomination and a disrespect to the wonderful Borderlands franchise that so many of us know and loved. And guess what, Take-Two? No matter what you want to say, no matter how much you want to beg, we all know this is going to have a huge financial impact on your studios out there. And guess what? You did it to yourself. Maybe you should actually be a little more selective about who you give your beloved IPs over to, because clearly the people involved in this didn't care, and you make it very obvious that neither do you.